Hi everybody, welcome to my vlog. I don't know how well my audio is going to pick up because as you can see, I'm walking next to traffic. I'm actually on my way to work right now. But I wanted to take a moment and do a quick vlog about blessings and all the wonderful things going on in my life. So the last video that I made, I was working fast food and I had finally had enough and decided I wasn't going to do this to myself anymore. So I started putting in applications at other places and I got a response and actually quit my job on the same day that I had the interview and then turned in my uniform with the second interview. So at my new job, it's going to be the first blessing that I talk about. Guys, you know they call serving a low-end job, like it's a low-income job. And I think that's just because on paper it looks low, because you know servers don't make the same amount that like normal people make. It's not the same minimum wage. However, guys, my rent is paid and I've had this job for a week, and I'm not talking like I'm pulling crazy hours or nothing. No, I mean I have great customer service and I talk to people and I'm really nice and I make sure everybody's drinks are full because I work at a buffet. But I make sure everybody's drinks are full and their tables are clear. And I have made bank. I made half of my rent in one evening. One evening, just one. And so that's the first blessing I want to touch on. My next blessing that I want to talk about is the fact that, you know, I have a house full of people. And I mean a house full. Like, I have a grand total of myself, my two children that are under the age of 5, my significant other, his sister, his dad, and his uncle. And we just got 2 puppies. Okay, so with this house full of people, we have been so fucking blessed to find each other in the manner that we did, where I am a part of this family as much as anybody who is blood related, and more so than some of the people that are blood related because of their own mannerisms and problems. And that in and of itself is just an absolute honor to me, to have a family that actually cares and really wants me to be a part of it, and they support me and they love me like their own. And keep that in mind. Not all family is gonna be blood. And remember that, you know, when you go to count your own blessings, that sometimes it's just the friends who are nearby that are twice as important as the sibling that never contacts you because they don't want to, or that ignores your messages because something happened, you know, whatever that may be. Remember that, you know, the people around you who choose to be there, in my opinion, are twice as important as the people who are supposed to be there that choose not to. And it's not worth the wasted breath to try and convince them of your worth. Because your worth is phenomenal, through the roof, amazing, and you're all beautiful human beings. And we're all just souls working to become humans. But the next blessing that I want to talk about, aside from my wonderful support network, is my children. Like I said, they're both under the age of 5. My kids are a year and 21 days apart. And I have a boy who's the older one. He's 4 right now. And I have a girl. She's 3 right now. And I have never, ever been so proud of my children and the human being that I am, to know that I am in the process of raising kids that are well behaved in public. And you know, behind closed doors is behind closed doors, so that's one thing, right? So my kids, they get a little rowdy and rambunctious at home, and we tell them to go put your attitude on your bed, and they go and freak out on their bed for a moment, and they come back out into the living room and they're fine. But when we're out in public, my kids don't have meltdowns. My kids don't go out of their way to demand things when we go into the store. And they know that if mama leans real close and has to whisper at them in that super serious voice and give them that look of "don't make me take you out of here," then there's a real problem. So they don't put me in that position. And I'm sure that that'll change a little bit as they get bigger. But at the moment, I'm beyond blessed to have the children that I have. Because I see a lot of people that they go out and their kids are like freaking out and throwing themselves down on the ground and screaming at the top of their lungs. And it's like, oh, poor parents. That sucks for you guys. I'm so sorry. I believe in you. And I'm quick to tell a parent I believe in them when their kid's having a meltdown. Because it's so difficult. You know, the parenthood community is so judging. And, you know, I've been kicked out of groups on Facebook before because I do not agree that just a timeout is necessary for some things. Like, for example, when my children were still very small, they kept trying to pull the outlet covers off of the electrical outlets. And we're talking like my son was 2, my daughter was a year. So my daughter was trying to mimic what her brother was doing, and her brother, it finally hit the point where I spanked him. And I didn't leave a mark or anything. I popped him directly on his butt through his diaper. And I explained to him, that will hurt you. That will hurt you so bad it could take you away from me, and you will turn back into stardust. And that is something that I don't want for you. And when I explained that to this group of mothers on Facebook, that, you know, I am not opposed to spanking my children because I would rather my kids feel the pain of a spanking, getting their butt popped, than to mess with an outlet and get shocked. They kicked me out of the group and told me we don't condone child abuse. And I firmly see a difference between child abuse and a spanking. I was abused. You know, when your mom grabs whatever is within reach and starts hitting you with it wherever she can hit you, that's abuse. But when your child is acting out and you have told them repeatedly and it's still not getting the message across, and you've tried the timeouts and you've tried taking away stuff and it's still not working, sometimes you just got to put that little brat over your legs and pop them on the butt once or twice to get that message across. And I think that is perfectly acceptable in our society. And it kind of kills me that we have so many people that are so adamant that no, you can't spank your kids anymore, when really a spanking was all that they needed for the reassurance that, hey, you know, mom does care. And especially, you know, with my kids, I explain to them anytime, which is very rare that we have to spank them, but especially I explain to them after a spanking, you know, I really hate having to spank you. And, you know, mama told you over and over and over again, don't do this because it's bad for you. And you kept doing it, and I'm not going to take a chance on you hurting yourself to the point that I lose you. So I spanked your butt because I'd rather your butt hurt than whatever it is you're messing with hurt you. And they understand that. And, you know, it's always followed up by, I love you, mama. And I know you don't like to spank me, and I'm sorry, mama, I won't do it again. And then they don't. You know, and it's, like I said, I'm popping my children on the butt directly on their buttocks over their clothing. You know, and I don't understand the people who lose control and they freak out and they hit their kids in the face. And I don't understand the people who, if you cannot hold your child still to pop them directly on the butt, you don't need to spank them. You don't. Like, you need to find a different alternative. And if there is no alternative that's working, then you need to go see a therapist. And that was something that I had a professional tell me, sorry, I'm crossing the road, that, you know, it is, sometimes you do have to knuckle down and you have to be that hardcore parent for a second where you take care of them in that physical manner before you end up having irreparable damage caused. And, you know, this is coming from a professional. She told me that I was a good parent. And so that was one of the things that, you know, especially with put your attitude on your bed, it does not belong anywhere other than on your bed. And my kids adhere to it. And it's part of the reason why I have such well-behaved children. You know, my kids in a year have gotten maybe 2 spankings. Now, in a year's time, there's a lot of things that could have happened. A lot. That's 365 days. God knows how many minutes and hours and all that jazz. If I could remember the Rent song, I could just tell you. But, you know, off the top of my head, my musical renditions are not on par today. However, you know, I'm ridiculously blessed to have the children that I have. And I'm also ridiculously blessed to have my new job, and my support group. And, you know, I've never had a moment where in my life everything has seemed so absolutely wonderful that I've wanted to take time to tell perfect strangers on the internet how fantastic my life is. My life has been, to quote OTEP, my life has been a mountain of misery and awful. It's just been awful. Like, you know, I had abusive parents, and I ran away when I was 17. I've been raped. I've been beaten. I've chose people that don't love me and loved them with all of my heart just to have them rip it out of me and cram it back down my throat with how wrong I was to love them. And here I am at 25 years old. I am 25 and I just started school for graphic design. I have a job that I know my bills are paid. I have food on the table for my kids. And I have an apartment. Yeah, it's a 1-bedroom apartment. But, you know, we got a lot of people living in it. But that's okay, because it's a home. It's not about whether or not it's a house. It's a home. You walk through my door and you're instantly enveloped in a sense of love. And I am just ridiculously blessed to be able to make this video and tell you guys about how awesome my life is going right now. And you know, if you actually took the time to watch this, well, thank you. I don't know why, but you know, thank you. And I apologize for my tangents that I go on. I get a little distracted, especially when I'm walking. But yeah, that's where it's at for me today. I just wanted to take a moment and tell everybody thank you, and that I appreciate the views, and you'll see me again in a couple days, I'm sure. And if not, then it'll be a little bit longer. But you know, whatever. You guys have a good day, stay blessed, and be happy with the beautiful things that you have in your life.